writing you a nutrition plan, okay? So, back to basics. Foundations day number 1, okay? This is as simple as it gets. Eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. Keep intake levels to that which support exercise but not body fat. Okay, in other words, just like Michael Pollan writes in his book, eat real food, mostly plants, not too much, mostly plants. It's really pretty simple if you dig into it, okay? This makes up the foundation of the CrossFit pyramid. All the stuff that we do in here. Guys, if your nutrition is not what it should be, you're capping what you can do, what you can be, okay? So, this is the very foundation of it. Now, before we get into should I do a zone prescription or should I do a macro prescription, this applies to everybody. So I just want to explain Dr. Nutrition here. I have no degrees in this stuff, but I'm going to tell you the basics, okay? Everybody understands there's 3 macronutrients. This is what makes up food. Protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Okay? Proteins, throw them out there. What are the proteins? Chicken, beef, eggs,
Not beans.
whey protein, not broccoli. Okay, now look, there are some foods that have scarce amounts of protein in them, but I'm talking about primary protein sources. Most of the stuff that you can slaughter with a spear, that's a protein. Okay? All right? So, we got carbohydrates. What make up carbohydrates? All the vegetables, right? All the vegetables, all the fruits, and all the stuff that we get out of hand with. The processed carbohydrates, the bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, starches, those things. Everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
Protein and carbs. And then fats. Let's talk about fats. Where are our fat sources?
Oils,
Nuts.
Oils, nuts and seeds. Avocados. Guacamole. Okay? So, in general terms, the good types of fats are going to be those monosaturated fats from the nuts and seeds, from the extra virgin olive oil, from avocados, those kind of things. Those are like the preferred sources. Okay? All right, so here's the premise behind the zone. Okay? And this applies to everybody, okay? You want to think about consumption of food like drug delivery in your system, right? If you had a disease and the doctor prescribed you a set of pills and he said, these are the pills that you must take to stay alive, right? You'd be precise about it. You'd say, okay, every 4 hours I got to take this one or I'm going to be dead on the 5th hour. We want you to start reprogramming your mind, at least just for a little while, to start thinking about food in that way, right? Because every time you consume protein, carbohydrate, and fat in the proper proportions, you're getting a perfect concoction of hormones being released in your body that make you feel full, that make you mentally aware, acute. Your energy levels don't have to be spiking and dipping all throughout the day if you eat in the zone. The zone, in general terms, means that your caloric intake is going to be comprised of approximately 30% protein, 40% carbohydrate, and 30% fat. That is a huge difference between what we preach, what CrossFit believes in, versus what the normal Western diet is comprised of. If you look at the FDA food pyramid and all that kind of stuff, they encourage you to consume about 70% of your calories from carbohydrates. And most of them coming from breads, pastas, wheat, those kind of things. Very bad advice. It's the reason that our country has a problem. Okay? So, rewiring your brain to start thinking in these terms. Okay? So, inside your body, when you consume protein, a hormone called glucagon is secreted into your bloodstream. Glucagon is a burn hormone. It tells the cells inside of your body to begin burning energy. Okay? When you consume carbohydrates, a hormone is released in your body called insulin. Everybody is familiar with insulin. Why? Because of diabetes, right? This is the reason that our country has a weight problem, right? It's because of the overconsumption of carbohydrates. Make no qualms about it. what we're talking about doing through this challenge is probably dialing back most of your carbohydrate intake. Okay? So, insulin is a storage hormone. It tells the cells inside of your body to hang on to energy because a famine is coming. Right? So what happens if we overconsume a bunch of carbohydrates, Lay's potato chips, you can't just eat one, you got to get through the whole bag, right? You're just storing up a bunch of insulin, dumping that insulin inside of your body, and guess what? If you can't burn it off, and it's pretty much impossible at the rate that we consume it, we're telling the cells inside of our body, store up energy, hang on to it, and if we can't burn it off, what happens? Fat accumulation, or better said, adipose tissue. Your fat cells get fatter. Okay, that's what happens, okay? The reason I like to call it adipose tissue is because fat is a macronutrient. Fat is necessary in your diet, okay? Fat secretes a hormone inside of your body called CCK. There is actually a word for it. I'm not going to bother with it. It's called CCK. It doesn't matter. Fat makes you feel full. It satiates you. Okay? Also, when you consume protein, carb, and fat at the proper proportion, that 40-30-30 proportion, the fat will actually slow down the digestion rate of the food that you're eating. You'll feel fuller longer. Okay? And it will also begin to tell your body, I don't need to use all that food for fuel. So now your body's going to start saying, I'm going to go after the body fat to start expending that as my energy source. It's really pretty magical, okay? So, all right, here's what's going on. I got a teeter-totter written up here. Imagine there's a teeter-totter inside of your body that dictates the hormonal balance going on inside of you, okay? When you consume carbohydrates, right, that insulin dump happens inside your body. When you consume protein, the glucagon, this is the perfect balance that we're trying to get right on our teeter-totter. We're trying to get those hormones released at the right level. Fat is a neutrally stable hormonal piece in it. It sits dead in the middle. So if you will consume in the proper proportions, we'll keep that nice level teeter-totter. If you eat too much carbs, boom, you end up being out of the zone. You eat too much protein, same thing. Too much protein will put you in a state called ketosis. And ketosis will result in less muscle mass and performance problems in the gym. Okay? All right, so we got through the science. All right.